The Science of Genius. Written and published by Ngasline. Genius, contrary to popular belief, operates on a surprisingly mathematical foundation. At its core, extraordinary achievement is the product of consistent daily actions multiplied by time. This simple equation demolishes the myth that genius is solely reserved for those born with exceptional gifts. Instead, it reveals a fundamental truth. Greatness is accessible to anyone willing to embrace the power of compound growth through dedicated daily practice. Consider how a skilled musician develops their craft. They don't suddenly wake up one morning playing at Carnegie Hall. Their mastery comes from thousands of hours of practice, each day building upon the previous day's progress. These small improvements, often imperceptible in the moment, accumulate over time to produce remarkable results. The same principle applies across all domains, from scientific discovery to artistic creation. The key lies in understanding that every small action creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond its immediate impact. When you practice a skill for just 1 hour each day, you're not simply adding 365 hours of experience per year. You're creating a compound effect where each practice session builds upon the foundation laid by previous sessions, leading to exponential rather than linear growth. This mathematical approach to excellence requires creating sustainable routines that can withstand the test of time. Many people fail to achieve their potential not because they lack talent, but because they design unsustainable practices that they eventually abandon. The secret is to establish habits that are challenging enough to promote growth yet manageable enough to maintain consistently. Think of it as setting your daily growth rate. Even a modest one, improvement compounds dramatically over time. Measuring progress effectively becomes crucial in this equation. Unlike traditional measures that focus solely on end results, true genius development requires tracking the process itself. This means monitoring not just what you achieve, but how you achieve it. For instance, a writer might track not only their daily word count, but also the quality of their focus during writing sessions, the diversity of their vocabulary usage, and the depth of their character development. The mathematics of brilliance also reveals why timing and patience are essential components of genius. Just as compound interest needs time to generate significant returns, the development of extraordinary abilities requires sustained effort over extended periods. This explains why many overnight successes have actually been working diligently for years before their breakthrough moment. Creating a mathematical framework for your practice allows you to optimize your growth rate. By breaking down complex skills into measurable components, you can identify which elements yield the highest returns on your time investment. This analytical approach helps eliminate wasteful activities and focus energy on high-impact practices that accelerate your development. Understanding the mathematics of brilliance also helps manage expectations realistically. Just as compound interest follows a predictable curve, skill development often includes periods of apparent stagnation followed by sudden breakthroughs. This knowledge helps maintain motivation during plateaus, understanding that consistent effort will eventually yield results, even when progress isn't immediately visible. The most powerful aspect of this mathematical approach is its universality. Whether you're learning to paint, solving complex equations, or building a business, the fundamental principle remains the same. Small, consistent actions, multiplied by time, equal extraordinary results. This equation democratizes genius, making it attainable for anyone willing to embrace its principles and commit to the process. By viewing genius through this mathematical lens, we transform it from a mysterious gift bestowed upon a select few into a predictable outcome of deliberate action. The path to excellence becomes clear. Establish sustainable daily practices, maintain consistency over time, measure progress effectively, and trust in the compound effect of your efforts. This is the true mathematics of brilliance, a formula that anyone can apply to achieve their own unique form of genius. The power of deliberate practice. Most people fundamentally misunderstand what it means to practice. They believe that repeating an action over and over will lead to mastery, but this approach often results in stagnation rather than growth. The key distinction lies in deliberate practice, a methodical, purposeful approach to improvement that separates true masters from perpetual amateurs. Deliberate practice involves breaking down complex skills into smaller components and working on them systematically with complete focus. Consider a concert pianist. They don't simply play pieces from start to finish repeatedly. Instead, they isolate challenging passages, slow them down, and gradually increase speed while maintaining precision. They record themselves, analyze their performance, and make specific adjustments. Each practice session has clear objectives and measurable outcomes. The power of deliberate practice lies in its feedback loops. Without immediate and accurate feedback, improvement becomes a matter of chance rather than design. This feedback can come from various sources: mentors, recordings, measurements, or self-assessment. A public speaker might record their presentations and analyze their pace, tone, and body language. An athlete might use video analysis to perfect their form. A writer might join a critique group to receive detailed feedback on their work. The key is establishing mechanisms that provide specific, actionable information about your performance. Creating optimal practice sessions requires careful consideration of multiple factors. First is the environment. It must be conducive to deep focus and free from distractions. Second is timing. Research shows that shorter, more intensive practice sessions are generally more effective than marathon sessions. The sweet spot often lies between 45 and 90 minutes, after which mental fatigue begins to compromise the quality of practice. The intensity of focus during practice matters more than the duration. 1 hour of deliberate practice, where every moment is dedicated to conscious improvement, yields better results than 4 hours of casual practice. This intense focus is mentally demanding, which is why world-class performers typically limit their deliberate practice to no more than 4 or 5 hours per day. Designing practice sessions requires clear objectives and progressive challenges. Each session should target specific aspects of your skill that need improvement. If you're learning a new language, you might focus one session entirely on pronunciation, another on grammar, and another on vocabulary. The key is to work at the edge of your current abilities, the zone where the task is challenging but not impossible. Another crucial aspect of deliberate practice is the willingness to engage with weakness. Many people spend their practice time doing what they already do well, as it's more comfortable and rewarding. True improvement comes from targeting areas where you struggle. This requires both honesty in self-assessment and courage to face difficulties head-on. The structure of deliberate practice should evolve as your skill level increases. What works for a beginner won't necessarily serve an expert. As you progress, your practice sessions should become more sophisticated, targeting increasingly subtle aspects of performance. A novice chef might practice basic knife skills, while a master chef works on developing unique flavor combinations or perfecting the precise timing of complex dishes. Success in deliberate practice also depends on recovery. The intense focus required for this type of practice depletes mental and physical resources. Building in adequate rest periods between sessions is essential for consolidating learning and maintaining the energy needed for high-quality practice. Deliberate practice isn't just about working harder, it's about working smarter. Every minute spent in practice should have a purpose. Every repetition should teach you something, and every session should bring you closer to your goals. This methodical approach to improvement, sustained over time, is what transforms ordinary practitioners into extraordinary performers. The innovation equation. Innovation isn't a magical spark that appears from nowhere. It's a systematic process of connecting seemingly unrelated ideas in novel ways. The greatest innovators in history weren't necessarily the smartest people in the room. They were the ones who could see patterns and relationships that others missed. Thomas Edison's light bulb came from combining existing knowledge about electricity, glass, blowing, and metallurgy. Steve Jobs created revolutionary products by merging technology with artistic design principles. The foundation of innovation lies in building a diverse knowledge base. When you expose yourself to various fields of study, you create more opportunities for unique connections. A musician who studies architecture might find new ways to structure compositions. An engineer who reads poetry might discover fresh approaches to problem solving. This cross-pollination of ideas is what leads to breakthrough innovations. To cultivate this ability, start by becoming a collector of ideas and experiences. Read widely across different disciplines, engage in varied hobbies, and seek out conversations with people from different backgrounds. Each new piece of information becomes a potential building block for future innovations. The key is to remain curious and open-minded, allowing yourself to explore concepts that might seem irrelevant at first glance. Pattern recognition is a crucial skill that can be developed through conscious practice. Begin by looking for similarities and connections in your daily life. What does the flow of traffic have in common with the circulation of blood in the human body? How does the structure of a tree mirror the organization of successful companies? These exercises train your brain to identify patterns and relationships automatically. Creating an innovation-friendly environment is essential. Keep a journal to record random thoughts, observations, and questions. These seemingly disconnected notes often become valuable later when you're searching for solutions to complex problems. Make time for reflection and allow your mind to wander. Some of the best connections happen when we're not actively trying to force them. Developing your innovation skills also requires embracing randomness and chaos. While structure and organization are important, too much order can stifle creativity. Expose yourself to new experiences. Take different routes to work, or try solving problems using tools from completely unrelated fields. These practices help break established thought patterns and create opportunities for fresh connections. The most powerful innovations often come from combining existing ideas in unexpected ways. Instead of trying to create something entirely new, look for ways to merge, adapt, or repurpose existing concepts. The first automobiles were essentially carriages with engines, a combination of transportation and industrial technology. This approach reduces the pressure to be completely original while still leading to groundbreaking innovations. Innovation isn't always about grand inventions or revolutionary changes. Sometimes, the most impactful innovations come from small improvements or subtle shifts in perspective. Japanese manufacturers revolutionized production not through dramatic technological breakthroughs, but through countless small improvements in existing processes. Training yourself to innovate requires regular practice in making connections. Set aside time each day to explore new ideas and look for patterns. Challenge yourself to find links between current problems and solutions from other fields. The more you practice this skill, the more natural it becomes, and the more likely you are to spot innovative solutions when you need them. Embrace failure as part of the innovation process. Not every connection will lead to a breakthrough, and many attempts at innovation will fall flat. Each failure provides valuable information about what doesn't work and often points the way toward what might work better. Edison's thousands of failed attempts at creating a light bulb weren't wasted effort. They were necessary steps toward the final solution. By understanding innovation as an equation of diverse knowledge plus pattern recognition plus persistent experimentation, you can develop your capacity for creative problem solving. This systematic approach to innovation transforms it from a mysterious talent into a learnable skill that anyone can develop through dedicated practice and the right mindset. Your unique advantage. Every human being possesses a distinct combination of experiences, perspectives, and natural inclinations that create a unique lens through which they view the world. This uniqueness isn't just a feel-good concept. It's your competitive advantage on the path to excellence. The most remarkable achievements in history came from individuals who embraced their distinctive qualities rather than trying to conform to conventional standards. Your journey to brilliance begins with understanding that your differences are assets, not liabilities. Consider how Temple Grandin's autism gave her unprecedented insight into animal behavior, leading to revolutionary improvements in livestock handling, or how Richard Branson's dyslexia forced him to develop exceptional delegation and communication skills, enabling him to build a global business empire. These individuals didn't succeed despite their differences. They succeeded because of them. The first step in leveraging your unique advantage is identifying your natural strengths. These aren't necessarily the skills you're best at, but rather the activities that energize you and feel natural. When you're operating within your natural strengths, you enter a state of flow more easily, learn more quickly, and produce better results with less effort. Pay attention to the tasks that make time fly by, the topics that spark your curiosity, and the activities where you naturally excel without formal training. However, true genius emerges not just from maximizing strengths, but from transforming apparent weaknesses into advantages. Every perceived limitation contains within it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. A perfectionist tendency that might slow down work can be channeled into exceptional quality control. An inability to focus on one thing might translate into superior ability to see connections between disparate ideas. The key is to examine your supposed weaknesses from different angles until you discover their hidden potential. Developing authentic excellence means rejecting the one-size-fits-all approach to success. Traditional education and training often emphasize standardized methods, but breakthrough achievements rarely come from following conventional wisdom. Instead, craft your own methodology that aligns with your natural tendencies. If you're a visual thinker, develop systems that leverage this strength. If you work best in short bursts, design your schedule accordingly rather than forcing yourself into the typical 9-to-5 mold. Your unique perspective also influences how you process and combine information. While others might see chaos, you might perceive patterns. Where some see obstacles, you might spot opportunities. This distinctive way of processing information is invaluable in innovation and problem solving. Train yourself to trust your intuitive insights while backing them up with rigorous analysis. Another crucial aspect of leveraging your unique advantage is understanding your optimal learning style. Some people absorb information best through reading, others through listening or doing. Some need complete silence to concentrate, while others thrive with background noise. Rather than fighting against your natural preferences, create an environment and methodology that supports your innate learning style. Building on your unique advantage requires courage. It's easier to follow established paths than to forge your own. You might face skepticism or criticism from others who don't understand your approach. Innovation often looks like madness until it succeeds. Trust in your distinctive perspective while remaining open to feedback and adjustment. The path to genius lies not in trying to be like someone else, but in becoming more fully yourself. Your unique combination of traits, experiences, and perspectives is not random. It's your toolkit for achieving extraordinary results. By understanding, accepting, and strategically leveraging your distinctive qualities, you transform what others might see as limitations into your greatest assets. The world doesn't need another copy of someone else's genius. It needs your authentic brilliance. The compound effect. Success rarely arrives in dramatic breakthroughs. Instead, it accumulates gradually through the steady application of small, consistent improvements over time. This fundamental truth forms the backbone of what we call the compound effect, a powerful force that transforms ordinary actions into extraordinary achievements. Consider the simple act of improving by just 1% each day. This seemingly insignificant change, when compounded over a year, results in a person who is 37 times better than when they started. Conversely, declining by 1% each day leaves you close to zero by year's end. This mathematical reality demonstrates why small choices, repeated daily, carry such tremendous weight in determining our ultimate success. The compound effect operates silently in the background of our lives, working either for or against us based on our daily decisions. When you choose to read for 30 minutes each day, practice your craft for an extra hour, or maintain a consistent sleep schedule, these actions might not yield noticeable results immediately. However, over months and years, they accumulate into mastery, innovation, and excellence that appears almost magical to outside observers. Time becomes your greatest ally when harnessing the compound effect. While others search for shortcuts and quick fixes, Those who understand this principle focus on establishing sustainable daily practices. They recognize that consistency trumps intensity every time. A moderate workout performed regularly for years will yield better results than sporadic periods of extreme training followed by inactivity. The challenge lies in maintaining faith in the process when progress seems invisible. Most people abandon their efforts too soon, just before the compound effect begins to manifest visible results. This is why developing a long-term perspective is crucial. Rather than focusing on daily outcomes, successful individuals measure their progress in longer intervals, quarters, years, or even decades. Creating momentum through consistency requires a fundamental shift in how we approach goal, setting, and achievement. Instead of fixating on dramatic changes, we must learn to appreciate and commit to subtle improvements. This might mean learning one new word each day, saving a small percentage of income, or spending 5 minutes more on deep work than the day before. These micro-improvements, while unremarkable in isolation, become transformative through the lens of time. The compound effect also applies to knowledge and skill acquisition. Each piece of information or technique you master becomes a building block for future learning. As your knowledge base expands, you develop more connection points for new information, accelerating your learning capacity. This creates a positive feedback loop where learning becomes progressively easier and more efficient. Understanding the compound effect changes how we view setbacks and temporary failures. Since progress compounds over time, maintaining consistent forward momentum becomes more important than the magnitude of any single action. A small step forward, even after a setback, keeps the compound effect working in your favor. This perspective helps develop resilience and prevents the all-or, nothing thinking that often derails progress. The most powerful application of the compound effect lies in its ability to transform habits. When you consistently choose beneficial actions over harmful ones, you're not just affecting that moment, you're programming your future behavior. These choices compound into automatic patterns that shape your character and capabilities over time. To harness the compound effect effectively, focus on identifying areas where small, consistent improvements can accumulate over time. Create systems that make these improvements automatic rather than requiring constant willpower. Track your progress using longer time horizons that allow the compound effect to become visible. Most importantly, maintain faith in the process, knowing that invisible progress is still progress. The path to genius isn't paved with dramatic breakthroughs, but with countless small steps taken consistently over time. By understanding and applying the compound effect, you transform ordinary actions into extraordinary achievements, one tiny improvement at a time. The art inquiry. Questions are the compass that guides us toward genius, level thinking, and innovation. While most people fixate on finding answers, true brilliance emerges from mastering the art of asking profound questions. The greatest minds throughout history weren't necessarily those who knew the most answers, but those who knew how to probe deeper into the mysteries of their field with increasingly sophisticated questions. The development of curiosity as a skill begins with understanding that it can be cultivated and strengthened like any other ability. Many assume curiosity is an innate trait. You either have it or you don't. This couldn't be further from the truth. Curiosity is a muscle that grows stronger with deliberate exercise. Start by questioning assumptions in your daily life, even simple ones. Why do we do things certain ways? What alternatives might exist? This practice of questioning the ordinary builds the foundation for extraordinary thinking. The power of what-if thinking has been behind countless breakthrough innovations. Einstein famously asked himself what he would see if he could ride alongside a beam of light, leading to his revolutionary theories about space and time. When we engage in what-if thinking, we temporarily suspend our practical limitations and allow our minds to explore previously uncharted territories. This mental freedom often leads to insights that can later be translated into practical solutions. Questions also serve as powerful tools for breaking through mental barriers and established paradigms. When we encounter a problem, our first instinct is often to search for immediate solutions based on our existing knowledge. However, Reframing the problem through carefully crafted questions can reveal entirely new approaches. Instead of asking, "How can I solve this problem?" try asking, "Why does this problem exist?" or "What would make this problem irrelevant?" These perspective shifts often lead to more innovative and comprehensive solutions. The art of inquiry extends beyond personal problem, solving into the realm of innovation and creativity. Many groundbreaking discoveries emerged not from having the right answers, but from asking the right questions. The invention of the printing press came from Gutenberg questioning why books had to be handwritten. The development of the smartphone emerged from questioning why communication devices needed to be separate from computing devices. To develop better questioning skills, we must learn to embrace uncertainty. Many people feel uncomfortable not knowing answers, but this discomfort is precisely where growth occurs. Train yourself to sit with questions longer before rushing to conclusions. Allow your mind to explore multiple possibilities rather than settling for the first apparent solution. This patience with uncertainty often leads to deeper insights and more creative solutions. The practice of strategic questioning also involves learning to ask progressively deeper questions. Start with surface-level what and how questions, then progress to why questions that probe underlying causes and motivations. Move to what if and why not questions that challenge existing limitations and assumptions. This progression helps build a comprehensive understanding while simultaneously identifying opportunities for innovation. Furthermore, questions serve as powerful tools for learning and memory retention. When we actively question information rather than passively accepting it, we engage more deeply with the material and form stronger neural connections. This questioning approach to learning helps develop the kind of deep understanding that characterizes genius-level mastery of a subject. Questions aren't just tools for gathering information, they're instruments for transformation. The right question can completely reshape how we view a problem or situation. By developing your questioning skills, you're not just becoming better at finding answers, you're becoming better at understanding the nature of problems and opportunities themselves. This deeper understanding is what separates good problem solvers from true innovators and geniuses, turning barriers into bridges. The path to genius is rarely a straight line. It's filled with obstacles, setbacks, and challenges that can seem insurmountable at first glance. However, these barriers often become the very stepping stones that elevate ordinary individuals to extraordinary heights. The key lies not in avoiding obstacles, but in transforming them into opportunities for growth and innovation. Consider the story of Thomas Edison, who famously made thousands of unsuccessful attempts before creating the light bulb. Each failed attempt provided valuable data that ultimately led to success. This perspective shift, viewing obstacles as data points rather than failures, is crucial for anyone aspiring to achieve greatness. When we reframe our challenges, we begin to see them not as walls that block our progress, but as puzzles waiting to be solved. The human brain is naturally wired to avoid difficulty and seek comfort. This evolutionary trait, while useful for survival, can hinder our growth potential. By consciously choosing to engage with obstacles rather than avoid them, we develop neural pathways that make problem-solving more natural and intuitive over time. Each challenge we face becomes an opportunity to strengthen these pathways and expand our capabilities. Problem-solving methodologies are essential tools in this transformation process. The most effective approach often involves breaking down large obstacles into smaller, manageable components. This decomposition allows us to tackle complex problems systematically rather than feeling overwhelmed by their magnitude. For instance, if you're facing a seemingly impossible project deadline, break it down into daily achievable tasks. This approach not only makes the challenge more manageable, but also provides regular wins that boost confidence and momentum. Resilience, the ability to bounce back from setbacks, is perhaps the most valuable skill developed through obstacle navigation. It's built gradually through repeated exposure to challenges and successful recovery from failures. Think of resilience like a muscle. It grows stronger with each repetition of stress and recovery. The key is to start with challenges that stretch us without breaking us, gradually increasing the difficulty as our resilience grows. Innovation often emerges from the pressure of constraints and obstacles. When faced with limitations, our minds are forced to think creatively and find novel solutions. This is why some of the most groundbreaking innovations come from environments with limited resources or challenging circumstances. The pressure of obstacles can compress our thinking into diamonds of brilliance. One effective technique for turning barriers into bridges is the obstacle inversion method. Instead of asking, "How do I overcome this obstacle?" ask, "How can this obstacle serve my goals?" This simple shift in perspective can reveal hidden opportunities within challenges. For example, if limited funding is an obstacle, it might force you to develop more efficient processes or innovative business models that you wouldn't have considered otherwise. Another crucial aspect of transforming barriers is maintaining a growth-oriented mindset throughout the process. This means viewing each obstacle as a teacher rather than an enemy. Every challenge presents lessons that can be applied to future situations, creating a compounding effect of knowledge and capability. Document your obstacles and solutions. This creates a personal playbook of problem-solving strategies that grows more valuable over time. The most successful individuals don't just overcome obstacles. They actively seek them out as opportunities for growth. They understand that comfort zones are where potential stagnates, while challenges are where genius flourishes. By deliberately placing ourselves in challenging situations, we accelerate our development and expand our capabilities beyond what we thought possible. Every notable achievement in human history came with its share of obstacles. The Wright brothers faced countless technical challenges before achieving flight. Marie Curie overcame both scientific obstacles and social barriers in her groundbreaking research. These barriers didn't prevent their success. They contributed to it by forcing innovation and persistence. Transform your relationship with obstacles by viewing them as essential components of your journey toward excellence. Each barrier you face is an opportunity to demonstrate creativity, build resilience, and develop problem-solving abilities that will serve you throughout your life. In this way, what once appeared as roadblocks become the very foundations upon which your future success is built. The courage factor. Talent alone has never been enough to achieve greatness. Throughout history, the most remarkable achievements have come from individuals who possessed something far more valuable than natural ability. They had courage. The courage to begin when others hesitated. The courage to continue when others quit. And the courage to push boundaries when others settled for mediocrity. Courage in the pursuit of excellence manifests in various forms. It appears in the willingness to take calculated risks, stepping outside of comfort zones, and facing the possibility of failure head-on. Many aspiring individuals possess the skills, knowledge, and potential for greatness, yet they remain frozen by fear of judgment, fear of failure, or fear of success itself. This paralysis by fear is perhaps the greatest obstacle between potential and achievement. The development of courage begins with small steps. Rather than waiting for fear to disappear before taking action, true courage emerges from acting despite the presence of fear. Every time you choose to move forward, despite uncertainty, you strengthen your courage muscle. This might mean sharing your work publicly for the first time, pursuing an ambitious project, or challenging established norms in your field. Mental toughness, a crucial component of courage, develops through consistent exposure to challenging situations. Like a muscle that grows stronger through resistance training, mental toughness builds through deliberately facing difficulties. This doesn't mean recklessly throwing yourself into overwhelming situations. Instead, it involves strategically choosing challenges that push you just beyond your current comfort level, creating opportunities for growth while maintaining a sense of control. Taking calculated risks is another essential aspect of courage in the pursuit of excellence. This involves carefully evaluating potential opportunities, understanding possible outcomes, and making informed decisions rather than impulsive ones. The key is to balance boldness with wisdom, pushing boundaries while maintaining awareness of real constraints and consequences. Fear and uncertainty will always be present on the path to greatness. The difference lies in how you respond to these emotions. Successful individuals learn to coexist with fear rather than trying to eliminate it. They understand that fear often signals they're moving in the right direction, pushing into new territory where growth and breakthrough possibilities exist. Building courage also requires developing a healthy relationship with failure. Instead of viewing failure as something to avoid at all costs, see it as valuable feedback and a necessary step toward mastery. Every failure provides insights that can inform future attempts, making each subsequent effort more likely to succeed. This perspective shift transforms failure from a dreaded outcome into a useful tool for growth. The courage factor extends beyond individual moments of bravery. It encompasses the daily choice to maintain high standards when mediocrity would be easier, to speak up when silence would be more comfortable, and to persist when giving up seems more appealing. It's about making the harder choice consistently, knowing that each decision builds momentum toward your ultimate goals. Support systems play a crucial role in developing and maintaining courage. Surrounding yourself with individuals who encourage risk, taking, support growth, and understand the journey of pursuing excellence can provide the foundation needed for bold action. These relationships offer both encouragement during difficult times and accountability to keep pushing forward. Courage isn't about the absence of doubt or fear. It's about moving forward despite them. As you develop your genius potential, remember that every great achievement in human history required someone to take brave action in the face of uncertainty. Your capacity for courage grows with each challenge you face, each risk you take, and each time you choose to persist, despite difficulties. By cultivating courage alongside your skills and knowledge, you create the conditions necessary for extraordinary achievement. Through daily acts of courage, both large and small, you build the foundation for breakthrough performance and lasting impact. The path to genius requires more than talent. It demands the courage to begin, the courage to continue, and the courage to excel when others settle for less. The Deep Work Protocol. In today's hyper-connected world, the ability to perform deep work has become increasingly rare and increasingly valuable. Deep work represents those periods of intense, uninterrupted focus where we produce our most meaningful and innovative contributions. It stands in stark contrast to the shallow, reactive work that dominates most people's daily routines. The path to genius. Level performance requires mastering the art of deep work. This means creating environments and routines that enable sustained concentration on cognitively demanding tasks. The first step is understanding that our attention is a finite resource that must be protected and optimized. Every notification, every interruption, and every context switch depletes this precious resource. Creating a distraction. Free environment begins with physical space. Find or create a dedicated workspace where you can shut out the world. This might be a home office, a library, or even a coffee shop where you're anonymous. The key is consistency. Your brain should associate this space with focused work. Remove all potential distractions from this environment. Your phone should be in another room, social media blocked, and notifications disabled. But physical space is only part of the equation. Time management for peak performance requires understanding your natural rhythms. Most people have periods during the day when their cognitive abilities are at their peak. For many, this is early morning, before the world's demands begin to intrude. Identify your peak hours and zealously guard them for your most important work. Schedule deep work sessions during these times and treat them as non-negotiable appointments with yourself. The length of deep work sessions varies by individual, but research suggests that most people can sustain intense focus for about 90 minutes before requiring a break. Rather than fighting against this natural limitation, work with it. Structure your day around these 90-minute blocks, separated by meaningful breaks. During these breaks, engage in activities that replenish your mental energy. Take a walk, meditate, or simply rest. Maximizing cognitive output isn't about working longer hours. It's about working smarter during your focused time. This means approaching deep work with clear intentions and objectives. Before beginning each session, know exactly what you aim to accomplish. This clarity of purpose helps maintain focus and prevents the mind from wandering. The transition into deep work isn't instant. It typically takes about 15-20 minutes to achieve full concentration. Understanding this ramp-up period is crucial. Don't expect immediate results when you sit down to work. Give yourself time to settle in and resist the urge to check your phone or email if you feel initial resistance. Creating rituals around deep work can help signal to your brain that it's time to focus. This might involve preparing a specific beverage, playing certain background music, or performing a brief meditation. These rituals become triggers that help you transition more quickly into a state of deep concentration. Another critical aspect of the deep work protocol is managing energy, not just time. Cognitive performance is intimately linked to physical well-being. Proper sleep, nutrition, and exercise aren't optional extras. They're fundamental to maintaining the mental stamina required for sustained deep work. Regular exercise, in particular, has been shown to enhance cognitive function and increase attention span. The deep work protocol also involves setting boundaries with others. Communicate your deep work schedule to colleagues, family, and friends. Help them understand that during these times, you're not being antisocial. You're engaging in necessary focused work. Most people will respect these boundaries if they understand their importance. By implementing these protocols consistently, you'll develop the ability to engage in increasingly longer and more productive deep work sessions. This capacity for sustained, focused work is what separates good from great and ultimately great from genius. In a world of constant distraction, the ability to do deep work becomes a superpower, one that's available to anyone willing to develop it. The persistence paradigm. What others label as genius often boils down to one fundamental trait: persistence. The ability to continue moving forward, regardless of obstacles, setbacks, or the slow pace of progress, separates those who achieve greatness from those who achieve greatness from those who merely dream about it. This persistence, when understood and cultivated properly, becomes the bedrock of extraordinary achievement. The journey toward mastery or breakthrough innovation rarely follows a straight line. Instead, it resembles a winding path with unexpected turns, occasional dead ends, and moments where progress seems to halt entirely. During these challenging periods, persistence becomes the decisive factor that determines whether someone will push through or give up. The most remarkable achievements in human history came from individuals who simply refused to quit, even when facing seemingly insurmountable odds. Building stamina for long-term goals requires a different approach than the typical motivation-based strategies many people rely on. Motivation is fleeting and unreliable, but persistence can be systematically developed through proper training and mindset cultivation. This development starts with understanding that stamina isn't just physical, it's mental and emotional as well. Just as an athlete builds physical endurance through progressive training, you can build your persistence through gradual exposure to increasingly challenging situations. One effective method for developing persistence is to intentionally take on projects that require sustained effort over extended periods. Start with something slightly beyond your current comfort zone, but not so far that it feels overwhelming. As you successfully complete these projects, gradually increase their scope and complexity. This progressive approach builds your confidence while simultaneously expanding your capacity for sustained effort. Plateaus represent one of the most challenging aspects of any significant endeavor. These periods of apparent stagnation test persistence more than any other phase of development. During a plateau, it may seem like all your efforts are producing no results, making it tempting to give up or switch direction. However, plateaus are often where the most important internal development occurs, even when external progress isn't visible. Understanding this helps maintain persistence through these challenging periods. To overcome plateaus, it's essential to shift focus from outcomes to process. Instead of becoming discouraged by the lack of visible progress, direct your attention to the quality of your effort and the consistency of your actions. Often, breakthroughs occur shortly after the most challenging plateaus, but only for those who maintain their persistence through these difficult periods. Maintaining motivation over the long term requires a different approach than the short-term enthusiasm that typically drives people at the beginning of a project. Long-term motivation comes from building proper structures and systems that support your persistence. This includes creating accountability mechanisms, establishing regular check-ins with yourself or others, and developing metrics that help you recognize progress even when it's not immediately apparent. The relationship between persistence and genius becomes clear when examining the lives of those we consider geniuses. Thomas Edison's thousands of failed attempts before successfully creating the light bulb, Einstein's years of working as a patent clerk while developing his theories, or Marie Curie's decades of painstaking research. All these examples demonstrate that genius is more about persistent effort than sudden inspiration. Developing persistence also requires understanding and managing your energy levels. This means knowing when to push forward and when to step back for recovery. Sustainable persistence isn't about maintaining maximum effort at all times. It's about maintaining consistent progress over the long term. This might mean taking strategic breaks, adjusting your pace, or temporarily scaling back efforts to prevent burnout. The ultimate test of persistence comes not in the big moments of challenge, but in the quiet moments when no one is watching, when the initial excitement has faded, and when the path forward seems unclear. It's in these moments that true genius is forged, not through dramatic breakthroughs, but through the steady, persistent application of effort toward a meaningful goal. By developing and maintaining persistence, you transform what others might call genius into something more straightforward, the natural outcome of sustained, dedicated effort over time. The excellence habit. Excellence isn't a destination, but a continuous journey shaped by our daily choices and actions. While many dream of achieving greatness through grand gestures or momentous occasions, the reality is that excellence manifests through the accumulation of seemingly mundane decisions we make each day. These small choices, when consistently executed, form the backbone of exceptional performance and achievement. The foundation of excellence lies in understanding that our habits shape our destiny. Every action we take, no matter how insignificant it may seem, either reinforces excellence or mediocrity. When we choose to double-check our work, spend an extra few minutes perfecting a skill, or push through fatigue to maintain high standards, we're not just completing tasks, we're building neural pathways that make excellence our default setting. Creating systems for success requires more than just willpower. It demands thoughtful design of our environment and routines to support our highest aspirations. This might mean organizing your workspace to minimize distractions, scheduling your most challenging tasks during your peak energy hours, or establishing regular check-ins to assess and adjust your progress. These systems act as scaffolding, supporting your journey toward excellence even when motivation wavers. The key to building automatic behaviors lies in starting small and scaling gradually. Rather than attempting to overhaul your entire routine overnight, focus on implementing one excellence-oriented habit at a time. This might begin with something as simple as spending the first 15 minutes of each day reviewing your goals and planning your approach. As this behavior becomes automatic, you can layer on additional habits that support your pursuit of excellence. Maintaining high standards requires constant vigilance against the creep of mediocrity. It's easy to rationalize small compromises or cut corners when faced with time pressure or fatigue. However, each compromise weakens a foundation of excellence you're building. Developing a personal quality checklist for your work, establishing clear criteria for what constitutes excellence in your field, and regularly auditing your performance against these standards can help maintain the integrity of your pursuit. The excellence habit also encompasses how we respond to setbacks and failures. Instead of viewing these as evidence of inadequacy, they become opportunities for refinement and growth. Each mistake or shortfall provides valuable data about where our systems need strengthening or where our standards need elevation. This perspective transforms challenges from discouraging obstacles into essential elements of the excellence journey. Creating accountability mechanisms helps cement excellence as a non-negotiable aspect of your work. This might involve sharing your standards with colleagues, documenting your processes, or establishing regular review sessions with mentors or peers. External accountability adds another layer of motivation to maintain high standards and provides valuable outside perspectives on areas for improvement. The excellence habit extends beyond professional pursuits to influence every aspect of life. When excellence becomes your standard operating procedure, it naturally flows into how you maintain relationships, manage your health, and approach personal growth. This holistic approach to excellence creates a reinforcing cycle where improvements in one area of life support and enhance others. Time is your ally in building the excellence habit. While individual actions might seem insignificant in isolation, their cumulative effect over weeks, months, and years is transformative. The gap between those who maintain excellence and those who settle for adequacy widens exponentially over time, as small differences in daily standards compound into significant advantages. The excellence habit isn't about perfection. It's about consistent progression. It's about making choices that align with your highest potential, even when no one is watching. It's about understanding that every interaction, every task, and every decision is an opportunity to reinforce your commitment to excellence. Through this lens, excellence becomes not just what you do, but who you are. Breaking through beliefs. Our beliefs shape our reality more profoundly than any other factor in our lives. What we believe about ourselves, our capabilities, and our potential creates invisible boundaries that either confine us or set us free. The journey to genius begins with understanding that our limitations exist primarily in our minds, not in our actual abilities. Most people carry beliefs that were installed during childhood, through experiences, or absorbed from others without conscious evaluation. These beliefs become the operating system of our lives, running silently in the background and influencing every decision we make. The remarkable truth is that many of these beliefs are completely arbitrary and often false, yet they hold immense power over our actions and achievements. Consider how a belief like "I'm not creative" or "I'm bad at mathematics" can prevent someone from even attempting activities that could lead to breakthrough innovations or scientific discoveries. These self-imposed limitations act as mental prison walls, keeping us confined within a comfortable but restricted space of perceived capability. The process of breaking through beliefs starts with identification. We must become aware of the thoughts that automatically arise when we face challenges or contemplate ambitious goals. These thoughts often manifest as seemingly rational reasons why we can't achieve something. "I'm too old to start," "I don't have the right background," or "people like me don't do things like that." Each of these statements represents a belief that requires examination and challenging. Rewiring mental patterns requires both conscious effort and systematic approach. When we encounter a limiting belief, we must first question its validity. Where did this belief come from? What evidence supports it? More importantly, what evidence exists that contradicts it? History is filled with examples of people who shattered conventional beliefs about what was possible. Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute mile when experts claimed it was physically impossible. Einstein revolutionized physics despite being labeled a poor student. These examples aren't merely inspirational stories. They're proof that our beliefs about limitations are often wrong. Creating empowering mindsets involves actively replacing limiting beliefs with expansive ones. This isn't about positive thinking or denial of reality. It's about adopting beliefs that align with actual human potential rather than artificial constraints. Instead of "I'm not talented enough," we can choose to believe skills can be developed through dedicated practice. Rather than "I'm too old to start," we can embrace "experience gives me unique advantages in learning." The brain's neuroplasticity supports this process of belief transformation. Every time we challenge a limiting belief and act contrary to it, we create new neural pathways. With repetition, these new pathways become stronger while the old, limiting patterns weaken. This biological process underlies the transformation of our mental landscape from one of limitation to one of possibility. Practical application of this understanding involves deliberate exposure to experiences that challenge our limiting beliefs. If you believe you're not creative, engage in daily creative exercises. If you think you can't learn complex subjects, start with small, manageable lessons and build momentum. Each small success creates evidence that contradicts limiting beliefs and supports empowering ones. The ultimate goal isn't to eliminate all beliefs, but to consciously choose beliefs that serve our growth and potential. We can acknowledge our current limitations while believing in our capacity to overcome them. This balanced approach allows us to remain grounded while constantly pushing the boundaries of what we think is possible. Breaking through beliefs isn't a one-time event, but an ongoing process. As we grow and face new challenges, new limiting beliefs may emerge. The key is developing the habit of questioning these beliefs and consistently choosing to operate from a mindset of possibility rather than limitation. When we master this practice, we remove the invisible barriers that separate us from our highest potential, opening the path to true genius.